So I wanted to finally start my video on Dr. Morgan Levine's book, right here. It's called True Age, okay? And what's nice about this book is it's a wonderful story of her work with Dr. Horvath, I think his name is. He created the Horvath clock, which looks at methylation at different points of the DNA and can judge somewhat how biologically old someone is. And she points out, luckily, the difference between biological age and chronological age, because, like she stated in an interview, one of the problems people have is they want an aging clock that can predict chronological age, which kind of defeats the purpose of a biological clock. Because the thing is, we would need to know how biologically old somebody is. And she explains the beauty of what she states is she does not simplify the aging process. Too many people too readily simplify the aging process, and they'll just be like, oh, aging is oxidatively related, or aging is immunologically related, or aging is metabolically related, or aging is neurologically related, or aging is this or that. And the thing is, it's all of those things. As I've stated in a number of different videos, there's many theories of aging, and each of these theories of aging has a hefty amount of scientific evidence that proves that it's really real, which tells me, as it tells Dr. Levine, that aging is a multifaceted decline of people's health, essentially. But different people age differently. Some people are, as she points out in the book, some people are immunological agers, and some people are cardiometabolic agers, and some people are different types of aging takes place differently. And the thing is, like, I did tell her I would read the book, and I did. It's some heavy-duty science. Also, I think by arguing with these idiots online, I think that by spending a lot of time arguing with stupid people has actually made me stupider. Because when I was predominantly talking to scientists on Facebook, I really was a lot smarter. But the point is, I basically, because I was talking about this stuff, it was more fresh in my mind. Now, the thing is, she's continuing to work at perfecting these abilities to demonstrate that you can look at different aspects, and you can basically clock somebody's biological age, and then we can target therapies to certain things. If somebody's an immunological ager, or if somebody is a cardiometabolic ager, or if somebody is this or somebody is that, we can target treatments, whether they be exercise-based therapies, or nutritionally based therapies, or pharmaceutical-based therapies, etc. The beauty, what I really love about the book is she brings she puts the humanity of herself into the story. And she talks about how her father was dying. Her father was a Hollywood actor that was old when she was born. He was in his 50s, I believe. So she was always concerned that he was going to, not live long enough to see her graduate from school, or to see her graduate from college, or to see her start her first professorship, or to walk her down the aisle, or to see her baby. But he was there for all of those things, and he did die very suddenly from stomach cancer. And it's a very touching story. She talks about the very real issue of not being able to afford daycare. Okay, her and her husband did not make any money really with their jobs as assistant professors. So while she was watching her dad, they had to share childcare duty because they couldn't afford daycare, which is a very real issue in the United States right now, and a very real issue that keeps people from actually attaining educations and attaining careers and attaining things like that. So it's a very interesting way that she puts her own personal life into this story about why she became interested in aging. Also, her mother happened to work with basically working to set policy for the elderly, policy for the in the aged. The other thing that I like is her analogies, her demonstrations, her thought experiments. They really help you understand what she's saying. She's brilliant, and she's brilliant at putting it in such a way that somebody without a science background can understand the things that she's talking about. She uses everything from races to expanding on the concept of a race. She gives an excellent example of how her grandmother and grandfather were basically ideal models for how we know people generally age, in the sense that men die sooner and women generally live longer. Basically everywhere in the world, women live longer than men, but men seem to hold up better. We don't seem to fall apart as badly as women. So women tend to live longer, but they also tend to fall apart and not have as good of a health span. And the other thing is, what people need to understand is, it's interesting because why she did this was not so that people can look good forever or anything like that. The reason she did this was to preserve people's health. Okay, the thing is, what you have to understand, until we can reliably quantify aging, we only really have animal studies to look at, which can point us in the right direction, but that's really all they can do. Because you can't really do a human study on aging, although you have the Framingham nurses study and things like that, which I'll leave a link to the Framingham nurses study and the Adventist studies, which I think are pretty good. But the problem is, when you start the research and end the research, the people that started the research might not even be alive by the end of the research, okay? Because of the long lifespans of humans. So the thing is, we need a way to quantify aging and to measure aging of the different organ systems and the different systems of the body, such as the immune system, the metabolism, etc., so that we know how to target our therapies so that people can enjoy the benefits. Because right now, essentially, what we're working off of is the research we have in animals and the research we have, as I said, like the Framingham heart study and things like that. So we do know that a plant-based diet is going to probably extend life in most people. We also know that vigorous aerobic exercise is going to most likely extend life in most people. We also know that strength training will extend life and help defeat frailty in most people. We also know certain nutrients help with immunological aging and things like that. But the thing is, this is due to research that takes forever to gather. When we can finally quantify aging and we can finally find ways to measure what people look at aging-wise, because we can measure when we can successfully quantify aging much better. When you can look at somebody 3 months earlier and see that they were aged in this particular area, and now that age has been reversed in another area. And her instructor, the one that she helped create the Horvath clock with, that clock was used to determine that people on DHEA, which is a hormone, growth hormone, and metformin actually did reverse their immunological age. And I will leave a link to that study. It's very interesting. I do think that what's so... Really, honestly, Dr. Levine is just a beautiful person. She really is. The way that she is driven to help humanity. And it was, she works for Altos Labs. She recently got a job at Altos Labs. Altos Labs is Google's, basically their biotechnology and age management laboratory that's working at basically making therapeutics to reverse or cure aging. And obviously she works at Yale, where she's a professor and runs her lab. And also she has worked with Elysium Health to help create better ways to measure the aging process. So I'm going to leave links in the description about who Morgan Levine is. I highly, highly, highly recommend people purchase her book and read her book to gain a deeper understanding about the necessity to quantify aging. And that's all for this video. Please check the links in the description.